Okay, welcome to another off-the-cuff video. This one is going to be about copywriting and what I would do if I had to start again today from scratch. Hopefully it's going to be a short one. I tried to keep my notes really succinct for this one. So, okay. First, just briefly, what is copywriting? It is writing where your object is to persuade. So it might be lead generation, like advertising copy. It might be digital ads. It could be an email sequence. It could be, anything where a response is desired. So, and it doesn't even have to just be for companies or for commercial use. I've worked with nonprofits, and a lot of their the word just went out of my mind, but when they're trying to raise funds, basically, that's also considered copywriting, and that's also that's sort of lead generation. They don't really call it that, but it is kind of the same concept. You're trying to persuade people to support you, right? So the skills involved in copywriting and in persuasion are applicable across many different fields, not just you're trying to sell something to someone. So that's copywriting in a nutshell. When I started out, there really weren't as many resources as there are today. So in a lot of ways, people who are starting now are extremely lucky because you've got YouTube. There are so many videos on copywriting, and there's so many copywriters on YouTube who are giving advice for free, and a lot of them are very good. So I would say that is a great first place to start. So if I was starting again today, I definitely, number one, would take advantage of all those free resources. A lot of people ask whether you need any kind of special certification, or you need a special degree, or you need anything like that. You don't. Anybody can be a copywriter. All you need to do is be skilled, and you develop copywriting skills. No one is just born with those skills, but you develop copywriting skills, and you grow those skills over time. So there's no magic formula for it. You learn and you practice. So the first thing I would do definitely is take advantage of all the resources that are out there. When I was starting out, I did not take any kind of courses. And for the record, I don't have a course to sell you, so I'm not gonna be advertising a course or anything at the end of this. I thought about doing a course for a while, but it's I don't have time for that. So I haven't. And there's so many free resources. Just take advantage of what's out there. That's what I did when I started. When I started out, there wasn't really YouTube so much, but there were a couple of bloggers that were really popular and gave out a lot of really good information, and it was pretty much free. I'm trying to think, I can't think of anything that I actually had to pay for when I was starting out, other than books. I did buy a few copywriting books. And I made a list of the top 10 books that I learned copywriting from, and I'll put a link to that in the description. I'm trying to think, several of those books I still use, and I still refer back to. I know that some of them are kind of old, and people say, those books are old, it's so outdated, it doesn't matter now. Consumer psychology doesn't really change that much. A lot of the books, all the books that I listed are classics, and they are foundational texts, really, if you are wanting to be a copywriter. So, try not to look at the fact that some of them have been around for a while. They're tried and tested, and then there are some people in the marketing space who basically write the same book over and over and over again. So every year they just come out with a new version of their same book. And so we won't even get into that, but that's a thing that happens. So that's number one. Free resources, they're out there, take advantage of them. You don't need to pay for it, and you don't need any kind of special certification. So there's that. Second on my list was library books. When I started, I was extremely broke. I was a student. I was literally, 19-cent ramens. I had no money. So I went to the library and I checked out copywriting books. There's a whole section there. And I just worked my way through them. I'm the kind of person where I need to see examples and I need to understand sort of the logic behind things. So for me, books were very helpful. I realize that not everybody learns that way. Some people might prefer to watch a video, but you can explore it online, is my point there. Or you can go to the library, or you can buy some books. Third, very important, read and analyze copy. So, for example, when I started out, one of the first projects that I got was with a marketing agency doing lead generation. So what that meant for me was digital ads, ad campaigns, landing pages. So what I did was I went to the various competitors of this company and I signed up for their email list and I went to their landing pages and I explored sort of what's the language they're using, what's the jargon of this field, what are they talking about in this area? Because you want to be able to speak to the audience, first of all, in a way that they understand. You need to connect with them in a way that they are going to understand and they are going to connect with. I mean, it really is highly personalized and highly customized to whoever your client is. The way you address, like, say I was a lifestyle influencer or something and I was trying to sell a course or something, the way that I would speak to my audience and the way that I would do my emails and the way that I would have all of my copy is completely different than, you know, a company that does, you know, cleaning services for office buildings. They're just completely different, you know, and so you need to understand the tone of the people that you're talking with, right? And the way that you do that is by reading a lot of copy. And so really dig in. If you don't have a client right now, or you're not currently working with someone, or you're just starting out from scratch, no worries, pick something. There's a free PDF that I had created for a project a few years ago that gave examples of, well, it helped you write examples for your portfolio if you've never done any kind of copywriting before. So I will link that in the description. And basically what you can do is pick a hypothetical company and then create a landing page, lead generation, an email example, whatever it is that you want to, whatever type of copywriting you want to work on. It could be a white paper. I remember when I started out, I, for a class project, had to do a white paper. It was actually a competitive analysis of two different companies. And so I used that as a work sample. And I went on Elance at the time, which I think now is part of Upwork. But I went on one of those sites and I used that as my sample and got a couple of clients. So then I had more samples. So that's something I would still do today. I mean, those platforms still exist. You create a sample based on a hypothetical, and then you take that sample to either an in-person client or, you know, I mean, you can reach out to clients and you can get that work yourself. Or what I found when I was starting out, and I would probably do this again if I started out today, is I find that it's easier, or it was easier, to just go onto one of these sites, because I didn't really have business contacts where I didn't really have anyone that I could just approach and say, you know, hey, let me do a white paper for you. Now, I'm thinking about this because if I was starting again today with the knowledge I have today, yes, I would just approach companies and I would do that. And I would give my sample project and I would, you know, pitch a service to them, you know. But when I was first starting out, I didn't really have the confidence. So I sort of feel like if you're lacking a little bit of confidence and maybe you need a little confidence boost, I would say go on one of these platforms. I know Upwork is still around. I know there are some newer ones, and I'll do a video at some point where I look at some of the newer ones. They all work about the same. You pitch, you know, people who are looking for projects. The pay is not great. I wouldn't stay there. But if you just want to get one or two client projects under your belt. So what I did was, once I got a couple of clients, I did the projects, obviously did the best job that I could, and then I asked them for testimonials. And I asked them if I could use their projects as work samples with their names removed, of course, and, you know, got their permission on that. And that ended up, I used that, leveraged that to get other clients that were local to me. And, you know, that's sort of how I started that snowball rolling, right? So if I were starting again today, that is what I would do again. I think that it still works. It still works today. It worked 10 years ago. It will probably always work as long as there are platforms, you know? So, nutshell, let me see if I missed anything here. No, that was all I wanted to cover. So if you have more questions, please put them in the comments. I will try to answer them. And I have a lot of resources that I will link in the description. I have a lot of information on copywriting on my website. And yeah, I hope that's helpful. Please check it out. There will be some other videos that should come up at the end here. And thank you for joining me.